Depending on your application or the clients, the data from your API endpoints might have to be returned in different formats. Most commonly, JSON, XML, or sometimes even custom data formats. ASP.NET Core does support formatting the response data in various formats. In this video, let's take a deep dive into formatting response data types in ASP.NET Core, how it works, what are the defaults, and how you can modify and extend them. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. For those of you who are new here, my name is Rahul and I make videos around .NET, Cloud, and DevOps in this channel. Since you're here, I assume you're already interested in one of these, so make sure to hit the subscribe button. Without much delay, let's dive straight into code because that's what we are waiting for. Let's head off to my console and create a new .NET application using the .NET CLI and using new and specifying React. This is going to create a React single-page application ASP.NET Web API template. If you want to know more about this template, I have spoken earlier in this channel about that. You can check that up in the link here or in the description below. The application is successfully created, so let me open up in Rider IDE. You can choose any IDE of your choice. Here, I have the application opened up in the IDE, so let's look at how this is structured. I have a default controller inside the controllers folder. And there is the program.cs and startup.cs, which we are all familiar with. Let's navigate into the weather forecast controller and start adding a new method. We'll come to this default method in a moment later. So to do that, let's add in the HTTP GET attribute and then specify a public and give back a simple string and say GET. Let's also add in a city name as a parameter. I have added this so that the API structure would be different from the below default method. To specify a custom route, we can specify the name comes from the URL itself. I have covered this in my routing video. You can check that if you are interested to learn more. Now in here, let's simply return back the city name itself. So we have a method that takes in a string and returns back a string itself. Before running this, let's make sure this parameter name is matching with that inside the function. So let's make this city name as well. Let's press F5 to run the application. The application is running successfully and we can see the default single page application template. Let's press F12 to open the network tab and make a request to our API endpoint. So let's give weather forecast / and the city name. In this case, I'll give Brisbane. Now this request returns back Brisbane because that's what we specified inside the function. If you look at the network request, we can see here this is returning a 200 and the content type is basically text / plain. This is because we returned a simple string back. To return the plain text format, we can also use the return type of content result. In an earlier video, we saw the different return types that a controller action method can take. And we saw one of them was iActionResult. So if you want to return an iActionResult and keep the text / plain as the format, we can return content result. So let's update this return method to return a content result. So we can use the content method, which is a short form to create the content result. However, to get this to work, we'll have to update the string to be iActionResult. Now this compiles properly, and this is also going to return a text / plain return type. So let's run this to make sure it's working as expected. The application is running again, so let's press F12 to open up the network tab and refresh this existing request. This again returns a 200 status code and we can see that the content type is still text / plain. For types other than string, ASP.NET Core is going to return it in a JSON format. Let's see that in action. So with the IEnumerable of get method, this is going to be returned as a JSON string. Even if we were to return, let's say a boolean or an integer from here, this is also going to be wrapped up as a JSON result. But let's see this with the weather forecast example. So running this again, if we come back to the browser and update by removing this Brisbane, it is going to hit the default get method. Now we can see this returns back a JSON data. If we were to explore the request inside the network tab, you can see this still returns a 200 status code. However, the content type now being returned is application / JSON. So the default return type is getting automatically formatted into JSON. So how does this happen with ASP.NET Core? This is getting set in the MVC options, which can be set from the startup.cs class. So let's navigate to the Explorer and open the startup.cs class and add a method so that we can see this in action. So if you look at services and add the add MVC method, it's going to take in an options as the parameter. So let's make this, and let's for now simply return this into the console. So let's say console.write and write out the options parameter. So let's make sure to close this. Let's put a breakpoint here to understand this better. So running this again, it hits the breakpoint. So let's expand this options, and we can see here something called output formatters. So if we were to expand that, we can see it already has 4 items. So expanding that further, we can see this one has an HTTP no content output formatter, a string output formatter, a stream, and also the system text JSON output formatter. This is the one that by default converts the return types into JSON data. If you were to navigate into the ASP.NET Core source code, we can go into an MVC Core MVC options setup class, which sets up these defaults. You can see here, it sets up the default output formatters. So it sets these formatters by default. You can also see the system text JSON output formatter being set inside of here. If you want to update these or change the order or add new formatters, you can do that using the MVC options, which we will see in a moment later. Internally, MVC uses system.text.json library to do the formatting of the JSON responses. We can configure this converter to match our needs. To configure that, after the add controller with views, let's call the method add JSON options and take in the JSON options as a parameter. Here, we can start modifying the options for this formatter. For the existing response that we made, you can see that these properties are now camel cased. So each of them starts with a small letter. If you want to change that, let's say for example, you can come back in here and in the JSON serializer options, you can set up the property naming policy, which by default is set to camel case, and make this as null. So this is going to reset this into Pascal case. Let's run this to make sure this is getting applied as expected. Let's remove this breakpoint and continue the execution. The application is running, so let's refresh this request, and you can now see this is now started returning in Pascal case. So the starting letter is capital as with our property names. There are various other options that you can configure on this JSON options attribute. Let's say if you want to add custom JSON converters, you can add that under the converters.add and pass in your custom converters if required. And there are a lot of other options that you can set, which you can explore as your application needs arises. The JSON options set at this level is going to be applicable across your application endpoints that returns JSON data. If you want to modify just certain endpoints, you can do that as well. So if you stop this application, go back to the weather forecast controller. Let's say this default method also now need to return the JSON data. So let's copy this dummy data from here and replace this method. So in here to return an iAction result, I can use a new JSON result option, which is going to specifically return a JSON result. So in here, I can pass in the data and also pass in custom options that's applicable only to this endpoint. So let's create a new JSON options class up here and also pass in the parameters that we want. So you can set up the JSON serializer options and set, let's say for example, the property naming policy and set this back to camel case. So just alone for this endpoint, it is going to act as camel case. Whereas since we have in the startup class set up here to be null, all the other endpoints which returns it will be still the Pascal case. Before running this, let's make sure we are returning the right class of JSON options. So this needs to be JSON serializer options, which is for the system.text.json library. So let's fix that and update this property because that is no longer required. So let's pass in directly the property naming policy and make that again camel case. So let's run this to make sure this is now working as expected. Let's make a request to the /Brisbane endpoint, which is the one that we just overrided, and that's now returning the camel case return type. However, if we were to make a request to the default endpoint, that's going to return the data in the Pascal case, which is how we set it up in the startup.cs class. Earlier with MVC framework, the default library that used to get shipped with for JSON formatting used to be Newtonsoft.json library. However, that was updated to be the system.text since ASP.NET Core MVC 3. However, there are still some use cases that are not supported with this new library, and in that case, you might want to switch back to the Newtonsoft library. If you want to do that, you will have to add a new NuGet package. So you can go to dependencies, add manage NuGet references, and you can search for the MVC Newtonsoft package. So this is going to show you this package, which is Microsoft.ASP.NET Core.MVC Newtonsoft JSON. You can install this inside your application and configure the startup class to start using it. So right after you call controllers with JSON views, you can remove the JSON options, and instead of that, you can start calling add Newtonsoft JSON. This is now going to replace the default converter using Newtonsoft. And if you want to modify this, you can update the properties similarly with the JSON formatter we saw earlier. So passing in the options, you can set up the options on this class as well. Let's make sure to fix this, and you should be able to update the options. So you can switch over to Newtonsoft quite easily if the system.txt formatter doesn't meet your needs. For now, let's clear these and make sure to use the default formatter. Up until now, we were just looking at response types that were formatted as JSON. But what if your application needs to support some other data formats? Let's say XML, for example. Now this is where the concept of content negotiation also comes into picture. Content negotiation occurs when the client specifies the accept header. If we were to navigate into the HTTP specification for the accept header, we can see that the accept request header field can be used to specify certain media types which are acceptable for the response. This supports multiple fields, and when you have specified none, it means it accepts all the media types. So using multiple types is using comma separated values. We will see this in action in a moment later. So let's go back to our application and start adding XML support. To do that, just like we updated the Newtonsoft JSON properties, right after this add controllers with view methods, we can call the add XML serializer formatters. This is going to add the XML serialization into this application pipeline. If we navigate into this method, we can see this again calls in an extender method. So let's navigate further inside. Here, this again sets up the MVC options that we earlier saw. It's adding the XML serializer MVC options setup to this particular options. If we navigate further inside that, we can see that this is setting up an XML input formatter and an output formatter. Input formatters are used for model binding for the request that's coming in and has XML data, whereas output formatter is used for formatting the data that gets sent back as the output response, which is what the focus of this video is. So here, they are adding input and output as XML formatters. So now the application supports these two cases. So let's navigate back to the startup method and run this to see the XML response in action. The application is running successfully again. However, I cannot make accept header changes from the browser. So to show this, I'll be using a tool called Postman, which you can freely download from the internet. I'll put a link in the description below if you are new to this. But Postman allows us to modify the request headers and also see back all the response data from within the tool. I have Postman opened up, so let's navigate back, copy this URL and come back to Postman. Let's create the plus to make a new request. By default, this is the get request, so let's pass in the URL and make a call to the weather forecast endpoint. So if you make to send, this is going to return back the data as expected. You can see this is now returning the data in the JSON format. So let's navigate to the headers and start setting the accept headers. By default, the accept is getting set to */*. This means it accepts any of the response types, which is why we are by default getting the JSON formatter, because that formatter is what is getting registered inside the MVC options first. Since I cannot edit this default header, let's uncheck this and add in a new header to be passed in. So let's again choose accept, and I can specify application/XML in this case. So now we have the accept header being passed as application/XML. Let's make a request again. And this time, we see the response data is now returned as an XML. So you can see the same data being formatted in the XML structure. If you want to get back the JSON, we can either remove the accept or explicitly specify application/JSON and make a request again. If you want to specify multiple types, you can do that as well. So by passing in a comma separated value, so let's use application/XML as the second one. In this case, the precedence goes from the left to right. So whichever is getting matched up the first, that's going to get returned. In this case, this is JSON. Let's say if we pass in a typo and pass in JSON1 and then XML next, this is now going to return the XML data because there is no formatter for JSON1. With the default ASP.NET Core implementation, if we pass in a formatter that does not exist at all, it is going to choose the default formatter. However, the HTTP spec specifies that it needs to return a 406. You can do that by updating the MVC options. So let's go back to the code, go to the startup class, and here under the options, we can set up the return HTTP not acceptable to be true. So this is going to return a 406. So let's run this again and see this in action. If we come back to Postman, earlier when we made the JSON1 request, which is an invalid format, it still returned us JSON. But if we resend this request now again, it's going to return a 406 not acceptable status. So you can see that here. This is because we have set that flag to be explicitly true. The default behavior is otherwise. In ASP.NET Core, the content negotiation is implemented by object result. So what do we mean by that? If you go into the weather forecast controller, we can see this method returns an iAction result and this returns an iEnumerable of weather forecast. In this scenario, this data is being automatically wrapped up by object result. This is how MVC works internally. We can rewrite this to be an explicit iAction result, and instead of returning an enumerable, I can return an OK status with the content inside. So this is also going to be exactly the same as before. If we navigate into the OK helper method, we can see that this is internally creating an OK object result. If we navigate further into that, this inherits from the object result class. This is where the content negotiation is implemented in ASP.NET Core. So if we navigate further inside, we can see formatters being taken into the constructor. So this is being used, which is basically the MVC formatters that we applied again in the beginning. So this handles the formatting of the data when the response is initiated. However, with the JSON result class, which we explicitly used to return JSON data, and if we navigate into that, we can see this does not inherit from the object result, which is why there is no content negotiation happening in that case. The data is explicitly tied to be JSON. So even if we were to request to that endpoint, passing in the XML format, we'll not get back an XML data. If we go back to Postman, let's say update this to be Brisbane, fix this to be application JSON and make a request, that does give back the data in the JSON format. However, if we are going to make an XML request, this is still going to return us the data in the JSON format. This is because we are explicitly returning it as a JSON result. That endpoint doesn't support content negotiation, which is why we still don't see the 406 error as well as in the previous case. We had seen that we had to explicitly set the accept header using Postman because that's how the content negotiation happens. Now we can use certain filters that can be set via the URL. To see this in action, let's add the format filter attribute, which is going to allow us to specify the format via the URL. To update the route URL to have the format, let's pass in the format as in the route and specify this is optional using question mark. So by default, it's going to pick up JSON. Let's also update the above method so that it doesn't conflict this route with the one below. So let's run this again and see this in action. Now, if I were to make a call to weather forecast, that is going to return the data inside the JSON format. However, if I specify /XML, that's now going to return us in XML format. This is because the XML part from here is being treated as the format inside this method. And this is being used by the format filter attribute, which is then converting it into the XML response. I updated this method so that the city name doesn't conflict with this format. Now I can come back here, and if I were to specify a wrong value, let's say XML1, this is now going to return an error. So we'll have to make sure that we pass in the correct values. I can also pass in JSON in here, and that's going to return us the JSON data as expected. Now I don't have to open Postman, but I can pass in the accept header right via the URL. You can choose whichever method you want as your application needs. If you want to restrict a particular endpoint to produce only the JSON or XML data, you can do that using the producers attribute. So if you were to add the producers attribute up here and specify a type, let's say application/JSON, this endpoint is going to now return only application/JSON. This is not going to return an XML data. You can use this if you want to restrict certain endpoints in your application to specific formats, even though content negotiation might be allowed at all the other endpoints. I hope this helps you to understand more about formatting response data types in ASP.NET Core, how it works, and how you can modify them to suit your needs. Kindly hit the like button if you like this video, and feel free to drop in comments or questions and I'll make sure to answer them. If you want to be notified of future such videos, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Thank you and see you soon.